Hello, welcome ladies to Tuesday Virtual Networkers. I'm Jill Celeste. So good to see you all today. I hope everybody's having a great week so far. This meeting is being recorded, and just a reminder, especially for our guests and new members, what happens after this meeting is I will send you an email that'll have the replay link as well as a chat box transcript. So speaking of the chat box, if everyone could go to the chat box right now, and put in your first last name email address. That's our guests, our new members, our seasoned members, the founder, everyone. Put our information in the chat box. I'm going to just pause for a second and do that because lately I've been forgetting. It's just not good. And I always have something to say. So let me go ahead and put my information in here because it's a lot. We've got a lot going on, ladies. So much good stuff. So with that, we're going to start off with our 30-second introductions. After that, Stephanie will introduce our speaker, Yadin, and then Yadin will do her full presentation, and then we'll finish it up with announcements. So with that, I will go first. I will ask Stephanie to go after me with her 30-second intros. I'm Jill Celeste, the founder of Virtual Networkers. I started Virtual Networkers in 2018, 6 years ago, because I wanted to network from home. I love networking, but in-person networking was wearing me out as a low-energy introvert. So I thought, well, I'll just network from home. And here we are, 6 years later, 5 chapters, 11 countries, over 60 members. And it's good to see you all here today. So with that, I will flip it over to Stephanie Joy Muscat. We got some more ladies coming in. Stephanie Muscat and then Valerie.
Hello, hope you all are having a wonderful day. I am Stephanie Joy Muscat, and I am the founder and CEO of a company called Bavera, which is celebrating our 20th anniversary in 2024. What does Bavera do? Well, we are a coaching and consulting service organization who amplifies the positive influence of humanities-focused nonprofits worldwide, helping them to soar to new heights through both pragmatic and visionary business decision making. My information is in the chat, and I have a new coffee chat link that my assistant set up. So I'm ready to go with virtual coffees, and I would love to meet with any of you.
Wonderful. Congratulations on the coffee chat link.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Valerie, then Luciana.
All right. Well, my name is Valerie DeRoe, and I am the owner and founder of Discover Your Synthesis. Many people struggle in career and business and are trying to fit a one-size-fits-all mold and experiencing so much unease and dissatisfaction. So at Discover Your Synthesis, we help individuals and teams unlock the codes to their unique career or energy blueprint, and so they can experience success as they're uniquely designed to. And if you know someone who is struggling to navigate their professional journey, then feel free to schedule a free discovery session with me. I'd love to talk more about it. So yeah, thank you very much.
And Valerie is our newest member, so please make sure to welcome her. Thank you so much for joining us today, Valerie. It's nice to meet you after all our LinkedIn conversations. Luciana, then Yadin.
Hello, ladies. Good afternoon for me. It's 5 o'clock in Portugal. So I'm Luciana with Finding the Bliss. I am a life coach, and I help heart-centered women who feel stuck and frustrated with their lives or career to find clarity about where they are and where they want to go with their lives, to make a plan on how to get to where they want to go, and to be confident about how to go through those changes. So in the process, I guide and encourage them on their journey of transformation while holding them accountable for making things happen. So if you know any woman who is feeling a bit lost, a bit stuck, a bit frustrated with life, send them my way. I can help them.
Thank you so much, Luciana. All right, Yadin, then Stephanie Fritz.
Well, I'm going to pass since I'm the speaker, and we'll be talking about myself quite a bit at the end of my talk. So.
We're looking forward to your presentation. Thank you so much. Stephanie, then Eileen.
Awesome. Howdy, I'm Stephanie, founder and chief exec wrangler of Exec Wranglers Virtual Assistant Services. And our team of wranglers manage administrivia for impactful leaders who are making a difference in the world in some way, shape, or form. And you might be asking, what is this administrivia? And it's actually in the dictionary. I didn't make it up. It's defined as the tiresome but essential details that must be taken care of and tasks that must be performed in running an organization. And so if you know of an impactful leader who's struggling to grow because they're saddled with their day-to-day operations, send them my way, execwranglers.com.
Thank you. So good to see you today, Stephanie F.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I say Stephanie, like both you go, so I don't confuse you. Eileen, good morning, good afternoon.
Hi, happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to our newest member. I'm Eileen Carrasio. I am a consultant. I am a coach to those in midlife and beyond. So I help them with retirement life planning. It's very practical. It's purposeful work that I do with them. I work with individuals, I work with couples, I provide workshops, I do talks and masterminds. Recently, a co-author, our book has become a bestseller, and the book's name is Midlife, New Life. So I'd be happy for you to contact me. Let's connect maybe on Twitter, or I guess we're calling it X now, or Facebook, or LinkedIn. So Eileen Carrasio, and coach and consultant to those in midlife and beyond.
Beautiful. We're glad you're here. Thanks, Eileen, for being
Thank you.
here.
Be
All
here.
right, I think that's everybody. So now I'll ask Stephanie Muscat to introduce our speaker. And Yadin, if you could go to about 40 past the hour at the latest, and then we'll open it up for questions. All right, Stephanie Joy Muscat, take it away.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to my friend Yadin Larochette, who received a BA in art history from the University of California at Berkeley with honors in 1994 and an MS degree in art conservation from the Winterthur University of Delaware program in 2004, majoring in textiles with a concentration in preventative conservation. She offers consulting services to businesses serving the art conservation community and is an active member of the American Institute of Art Conservation's Sustainability Committee. She was president at Conserve Solutions, Inc. in 2022 and the Museum and Conservation Liaison for TrueView, Inc. from 2015 to 2021. Prior to that, she ran Larochette Textile Conservation, LLC. Her contracts involved various private textile collections in numerous high-profile institutions, such as the Getty Museum, the Fine Arts Museum of San Francisco, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, and the Huntington Art Collections. She's a fifth-generation French tapestry weaver and wove professionally prior to entering the conservation field. She co-authored a beautiful book, which I know she's going to share with you, and I have a copy of, Anatomy of a Tapestry, Materials, Techniques, Care, with her father, master weaver Jean-Pierre Larochette, which was released in 2020 by Schiffer Publishing. Yadin, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks for the lovely intro there, Stephanie. So I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully everyone can see that.
Yeah, it's there.
Like, hiding slide visible? Good. All right. So thanks so much for inviting me here to the virtual networkers. I mean, I had a great time a couple of weeks ago on the one-on-ones. This is a fantastic group. And I'm going to be talking about art conservation, which is something some of you may be familiar with, and maybe what I might, part of what I say might be a review for you, but I'll also be talking about the new reckonings that we're facing. So I'll go over what conservation is, a brief history of the field and the formal training involved, and the reckonings that we are now facing, because art conservators have been traditionally focused purely on caring for collections, and we're now facing new challenges. As we face social and environmental unrest, responsibilities within the field have expanded, and I'll discuss some of these and show a few examples. Well, now this is interesting. My advanced doesn't work anymore.
You try your arrow key on your keyboard.
Yep. What happened here? Trying either one. I was doing this just earlier today and it worked fine.
Maybe stop your share and then try again.
Yeah.
Hi, Kristen Kelly, by the way.
No.
No.
How am I gonna do this?
Any suggestions from the crowd?
You know, I think maybe what I can do is go back to the
Maybe go back to your notes and then try again.
no, you're right, to the notes.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Best laid plans, right?
I know. I was all excited about the new way of doing it.
We were practicing, so she'd be like ready to roll.
I'd be all ready to roll, and I'm like, what is
That's
going
all right.
on?
This is the
Okay.
casual crowd. We're like, yeah, we've been here, done that. Got no,
Yeah.
no
It
t-shirt
happens.
either.
Let's go to normal.
Is it, I wonder if it's like presenter, did you have it in presenter mode?
Yeah, I do.
Well, ladies
right.
who were coming in after the start of the meeting, make sure you go to the chat box, first, last name, email address in there as a reminder. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so we'll do it this way. All right, so. Museums became popular destinations in the 19th century, and this, along with the increased pollution generated by Industrial Revolution, increased the need to care for artworks and material cultures in museums. The painting on the lower left is in the process of being cleaned and is a prime example of how pollutants can affect the aesthetic appearance of an artwork. A surge in scientific advances around that time, such as Louis Pasteur's discovery of penicillin and the development of vaccines, tied into the mindset of combining scientific knowledge of materials with hand skills, which had traditionally been the sole foundation in the care of artworks and material culture. Now, what do I mean by material culture? Here are a few examples from America's past. It's all that stuff that we as people have made. Tools, clothing, furniture, housing, and other creations reflect a culture's values, beliefs, and behaviors. We can learn a lot about ourselves and our place in the world from artifacts from our own culture, and in turn, learn about other people's cultures from their materials. And our conservator does their best to preserve these materials, as well as fine art, for future generations to come. For the most part, conservators learned their skills solely through apprenticeships up until the 1970s. At that point, educational programs began developing. Curriculum was based on three major components: history, science, and hand skills. This concept was coined the three-legged stool. Conservators were considered the mad scientists down in the basement. Conservation labs were almost always underground, close to where the collections were stored. Rarely did they interact with the public, a role that was usually delegated to curators and administrators. Over the decades, it became clear, however, that communication was just as important as history, science, and hand skills. Internal communications within a museum are required to align the museum's goals related to the care of collections. Public relations are needed in order to educate and connect with people. Without public interest and a sense of relevancy, funding for the care of collections is next to impossible. Communications is now the fourth leg of the stool, and I'll be providing some examples of this in a bit. Specialties develop naturally within the field. Today, there are 8 main categories within art conservation: paintings, paper, photographs, textiles, objects, contemporary art, time-based media art, which includes sound, video, light projections, and film, and preventive conservation. Paintings can be centuries old, such as the wood panel work on the left, or contemporary, like Jackson Pollock on the right. which is on canvas. In museums with large conservation labs, paintings conservators will sometimes focus on one type of painting. Another specialty is paper. This includes artworks, maps, documents, and other paper-based media. Some specialize specifically in conserving books, where the understanding of book structure is also required. Most, if not all, university libraries have conservation labs. Photographs is its own specialty. Textiles, which as Stephanie mentioned is my specialty, includes both flat textiles like this quilt and costumes. Object conservation specialty tends to be separated into two groups. Those made with organic materials, which come from plants and animals, such as baskets and wood furniture like you see here, and feathers and leather. The chasuble on the right is made of gilded leather, and those are a couple of detail shots there of conservation work being done on it. Inorganic objects include metals, ceramics, glass, and stone. Here are examples of two sculptures, bronze on the left and stone on the right. Inorganics include many archaeological artifacts, such as this ceramic urn and this glass bowl, which was shattered in the 2020 explosion in Beirut. I'd like to point out that these categories are not always cut and dry. As a conservator, I work on costumes with feathers and beads, where I've often consulted an objects conservator with more experience with these types of materials. I've also advised painting conservators working on unprimed canvases like the one on the left, where the fabric support is an integral part of the artwork, as opposed to paintings on prime canvases where the surface has been made smooth with fillers. And these are usually varnished like the one on the right. A relatively new specialty that involves all types of materials is contemporary art. It has its own unusual challenges outside of conserving the material components. The snowman in the freezer on the left, for example, is a reconstruction of a concept which was initially made into an artifact in 1987. And the shark on the right caused quite a stir in the year 2000. The shark, which was preserved in formaldehyde in 1991, had started to fall apart in the tank. The artist, Damien Hirst, had a good question. Are you looking for the original object? Is that what you want to preserve? Or do you want to communicate the idea that was originally intended? To many contemporary artists, concept appears to trump the work itself. A large part of conserving contemporary art is documenting the artist's intentions, as well as their techniques and processes. The newest specialty in the field is time-based media. This includes film, video, sound, and light installations. These are susceptible to technological obsolescence, where the equipment needed is no longer made. With time-based media, the conservator balances the physical preservation of the artwork with the artist's intentions. It might mean transferring the material from one technological platform to another, or documenting the material in another way. Preventive conservation, which is the last category I'm going to talk about, has been incorporated into European training programs and museums for a long time, but is relatively new to the US. And I was in the first pilot program for this type of training in the United States back in 2002. Preventive takes into account all aspects that can accelerate the deterioration of a collection. This includes light, which the conservator on the left is measuring, to monitoring levels of dust and pollutants. And I should note that the woman on the right is not monitoring. She's actually cleaning the dust off the Strictly glass sculpture that gives you a
Wow.
sense. Keeping a stable environment is another important part of preventing deterioration. Preventive conservators monitor the relative humidity and temperature and communicate with other museum staff when there are big dips or peaks in the system. Integrated pest management, or IPM, is also an important part of preventing damage. Some insects are notorious for eating artifacts. During COVID shutdowns, several museums experienced a surge of insect activity because there was a lapse in routine inspections. Excuse me, and it was nice and dark and quiet in there, so it's just how bugs like it. Monitoring activity and routine cleaning are just two parts of the holistic IPM program. Mechanical damage, such as breaks and tears, is prevented by designing housing that protects the artifacts. Preventive conservators also work with packers and craters to design safe shipping crates and monitor the shipment while in transit. In terms of training programs, there are 4 in the US, all accept about 10 students per year. And I'm not sure what the numbers are today, but when I applied back in the late 90s, there was an average of 700 applicants per program. So it was highly competitive. The programs that exist today in the US from clockwise from starting on the West Coast are the UCLA Getty program in Los Angeles, the SUNY Buffalo State program in upstate New York, the New York University program in New York City, and the one Stephanie mentioned that I graduated from, the Winter University of Delaware program, and it's near Wilmington, Delaware. Now, there are some good restorers and conservators out there that have not gone through formal training, but they're far and few between. So without proper training, there have been some notorious goofs, as you can see in these examples of before and after treatments.
Hmm.
If you have a work of art or heirloom you'd like to have conserved or restored, the American Institute for Conservation is a great resource, and you can search for a vetted professional on their website, culturalheritage.org. And if anybody's interested, reach out to me and I can give you more information on that. So remember the 3-legged stool I was talking about earlier, the 3 ingredients that used to make a professional conservator: knowledge of history, science, and having stellar hand skills, and how communication is a relatively new ingredient. And that's what I'll focus the rest of the talk on. Importance of communication, communicating effectively, is influenced by a few main factors. One is the need to stay relevant. If people don't know what it takes to care for a collection, there's no public interest. And if there's no public interest, there's little leverage for funding the work. A dire need for effective communication is also influenced by climate change. Crazy weather has instigated a surge in collective thinking around risks to museum collections. And concerns around how to reduce environmental impacts are inspiring all types of collaborations. Communication needs are also influenced by social upheavals of all sorts, which have also inspired dialogue that's beyond the care of artifacts. The humanity connected to the objects is coming to the forefront. One way conservators are reaching out is by opening their labs up for people to see what they're doing. In some cases, people can interact with the conservators. This system has had mixed reviews, as reflected in this New York Times headline on the left. Not all treatments are exciting to watch, to say the least. And due to the nature of the work, which often requires highly focused concentration, the most successful versions of these open labs have limited hours. There are some great examples, though. The Night Watch, one of the most famous and largest Rembrandts, has been undergoing analysis and treatment for the last 5 years. The Rijksmuseum's website has whole pages dedicated to the work and provides detailed and engaging updates. The project is viewable from the galleries and is also live streamed. The project has gotten a lot of attention thanks to the museum's public relations team. Press coverage is from multiple sources, expanding audience reach. Sources like The Guardian expose the general public to the innovative processes being used in the conservation treatment, including AI to help fill in missing edges. Science journals are focusing on the analysis of the materials they're finding, and art journals are enthralled with it all. PR doesn't just have to be about Rembrandts, though, and I've seen more and more smaller projects getting press attention. Aside from outreach to the general public, big team efforts in conservation are underway to address climate change. Assessing hazards and risks has become top of mind with the onset of unprecedented heat waves, wildfires, and floods. Work is now being done to develop easy-to-use tools to determine what risks are in a particular area and how to prepare for them. This requires a collaborative approach, and conservators are connecting with expertise from a variety of different organizations, including the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, and the National Weather Service, or NWS. Commercial companies such as Climate Check are also involved in the effort. Conservators making an effort to help mitigate climate change have been connecting and communicating within the field and with the general public. The American Institute for Conservation Sustainability Committee, of which I'm a member, provides information in a variety of ways. Two are accessible to the general public. A podcast called Green Tea, where all sorts of people within the field of conservation discuss how to improve our world, and a webinar, Conservations with Changemakers, which focuses on ways to reduce energy consumption in museum buildings. Another area where communication has been increasing is with the museum security teams. They're often the eyewitnesses to damage incurred by visitors. The relationship between security and conservation, and all other departments for that matter, has become even more important with the onset of demonstrations within gallery walls. Museums, whether they like it or not, are becoming hubs of civic protests. As civic hubs, museums have the opportunity to make space for constructive dialogues. Germany's Nuremberg Museum of Communication is doing just that. They started inviting activist groups to perform in their spaces, generating dialogue and raising awareness. There is opportunity here for conservators to facilitate in this dialogue as well, especially when it comes to the trend of throwing soup at paintings and other forms of activist vandalism. Conservators have the power to bring their artwork into focus as the victim of good intentions. Conservators are also getting involved in helping preserve artifacts related to social issues. The collection of art created and brought to the streets after the murder of George Floyd is just one example. Some conservators have been deeply affected by the social reckonings that have surfaced in the last few years and are making significant changes. Sarah Kleiner, a paintings conservator by training, was propelled to leave the easel recently to help expand and enrich the connections and communications and conservation practice. And she's doing some really amazing work. So I'll close with the work I've been doing. My involvement in outreach while I was on the board of two organizations dedicated to bringing conservation professionals together, the North American Textile Conservation Conference and the Western Association for Art Conservation, led me to connect with potential sponsors. Many of these are businesses serving the art conservation community. I ended up working full-time for one of them, TrueView. They manufacture glass and acrylic glazing for fine art framing and display case fabrication. And I served as a bridge between development, production, distribution, and end users. I learned a ton over the 6 years I was there, and I learned even more when I moved on to Conserve, a startup that provides environmental monitoring software and hardware specifically designed for heritage preservation. With this experience, I've gone independent, helping other other businesses with content, communications, and growth strategies. As you can imagine, this is a super niche area to be working in, and I'm exploring how to expand my offerings, including other avenues of bridge building and communications. Now, in the spirit of shameless plugs, I'll end with a book I co-wrote with my father that Stephanie mentioned. My interests in textiles and weaving are all his fault. He's a descendant of multiple generations of master weavers from Aubusson, France, and he taught me how to weave the minute my little legs could reach the petals of the loom. This is an unusual publication in that it combines the knowledge of the maker on technique and insights only manifested from a lifelong dedication to the craft, and a conservator who has delved into the minutia of all the materials involved and how they interact. We had a general audience in mind, really anyone who's interested in tapestry or is responsible for the care of tapestries. And with that, I'd like to say a big, huge thank you, and not to hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. And I'm assuming we're going to go through a Q&A now too.
Yep, you got it. That was so interesting. Thank you so much. As you get, there it is. We'll get back to our gallery here. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Yadin today? Yes, Luciana, go. Luciana, go ahead, Eileen.
Always me. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you, okay, it's not an odd question, it's totally to the point. So what would be your advice? I live in Portugal. My husband is English. He's descendant of a historical figure from the UK. And they have some heirlooms, let's say. Nothing great, but some things that I think historically are important. But the family doesn't care. It's just laying around. And I keep telling them, give this to someone who's going to do something about it, because it's a shame to let this just disappear. What is your advice?
Well, number one, I think there's a family dynamics going on there. So depending on whether they want to give it away or not,
Oh, they don't care.
They don't care.
They
So
don't care.
you know, there are I mean, I think there are, especially in the, are the works in the UK or in Portugal right now?
It's in my house.
Oh, they're in your house.
It's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're here in Portugal. Okay, so they're in Portugal. Because depending, you know, if there are often regional museums and local historic houses in and the UK is famous for them, who may be interested in having these pieces. Now they usually are not very well funded, and so will not be able to afford the shipment to the location. So I think part of it would be to see what if the pieces and how they connect to a specific area or story, and then see who represents, what institution represents that, and then contact them and see what if they are interested in having it or have an idea of who may be interested in having it.
Okay, because for example, this has nothing to do with me, but I think it's a shame that some of these pieces end up in an antique shop. I think they should be in a museum, just because of the history, nothing else. Like I said, it's nothing, you know, grand, but it is part of history.
It's part of history and has a story. So I think I think you could do your due diligence by reaching out to these regional museums. I don't know that you know, if you have the location of where you're in the UK.
It would be in the UK, not here, for sure.
Right. No, and no, in the UK where his family is from, like the area that he's from, and then the stories that are connected to it in the UK. Not important. Yeah, Portugal wouldn't. There is no. It has to have a connection.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Thank you so much.
Luciana, Stephanie Joy Muscat as opposed to Stephanie Fritz. Stephanie Fritz, and you put your middle name in there so I can just rattle off all the all the titles. But anyway, she says she has a contact perhaps for you.
Oh,
chat
perfect.
box. So
There you
reach
go.
out to her. There you go. Eileen, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, actually a few comments, but first of all, thank you. I didn't know really anything about art conservation, and I was totally amazed. The images that you provided really helped me understand the whole array of materials. I mean, there's so many. And then I just was also amazed too about and I never even thought about this, but people, I don't know, using their social activism to bring attention to their cause, but then switching that around and then inviting people to do something with it, I thought was fascinating. So I have a couple more ideas that I was thinking about. You have this book that's out, and is it on Amazon?
Yes, it's available on Amazon and yeah. You can
Oh,
buy it either directly from the publisher or through Amazon.
okay. And then how can we exactly help you? I mean, I could see you going to libraries and presenting this and then really bringing awareness, but like, how can we help you get what you want with what your business is?
Well, that's such a lovely question. You know, there are so many different directions that I could be going in right now that that's where I'm like I'm having a hard time prioritizing. I think, well, I guess my one question would be, is my strategy that I have displayed to you in terms of the area that I'm interested in, which is helping businesses that serve the art conservation community, does that make sense from a business point of view? I mean, this is a very niche market, and so I think that's where I can saturate my market really quickly. So that's, I think, finding a way to expand beyond that maybe is part of the question, or how to integrate other components to our conservation field.
Yeah. It sounds like you could go in a lot of, different directions. I mean, you could go to businesses who might even have or bring awareness to, they may even have something that's very historical related to their business that they want upgraded.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. That not just businesses that are already working with our, that are selling our conservation materials or equipment, but those that are affiliated in a tangential way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yadin, I went to a very old women's college in Macon, Georgia. And one of the things that our alumni like to do is donate their art pieces.
Mm.
And so I was very privileged. I was in school, same time as you, that I would get to watch art conservation in action, because they would hang, usually it was paintings or something like that, but not always. And then someone from somewhere would come and clean it, get the dirt, and we could watch the transformation in front of our eyes. It was so very cool. But I don't know if this is an idea you thought of, but old women colleges,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of art,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, and not just, I mean, ceramic, pottery, tapestries, carpets,
Yeah.
China. I know my alma mater does, and it can't be the only one, because what happens, the alumni, they don't know who to give it to, so they donate it to the college upon their death. It's in their estates, with the idea that the school would sell it, but sometimes you can't sell it because there's no market to sell it. So now so they house it. It's very interesting. So I share that in case you haven't heard of that, explore that you probably have, but just wanted to share it nevertheless.
Yeah, it's a really good, it's an area that I haven't thought about.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's pretty, and I don't, maybe it's a thing with the US South, because I went to school right there in Georgia. But I wouldn't think so. I think that might be not necessarily a regional thing, but I was very
So
lucky. My college, even in the dorm hallways, we had pieces of art because they didn't know where else to put it.
I've seen that too at women's colleges and private schools.
Yes, private schools.
Up here in New England, so Phillips Academy, along with the women's colleges and Governor's Academy and things like that. And also here in New England, we have a lot of businesses that have been in existence for 100, 150 years, 200 years. Here, and especially in this region, you get very old businesses, and a lot of them have their own archives and have their own collections just kind of sitting in a box in the back room. And I've always thought that it would be wonderful for them to work with the conservator and bring that stuff out and put it into the hallway as you're coming into the business, and just be able to show that history. But there's a lot of conservation work there, because there are a lot of gems, I'm sure, tucked in a lot of
Oh my
business.
gosh,
Even
right?
something like LL Bean has stuff tucked in quarters of their offices, because I've seen it when I've gone in there for meetings, but they're all up and down the collection colonies. Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, you think about that. I was also, like Eileen mentioned, I am glad you touched on some of the activism that's occurring where people are vandalizing art, which makes me sad. And I know it, I appreciate their message. I don't agree with the method, but I just love that museum in Germany is like, oh, you want to vandalize the art? Why don't you just come here?
Exactly. I love that.
I hope that
Hoping we can do
continues,
something
because
like
we
that
want to
here.
give those groups, they have important messages, and allow them to have that platform, but do so in a way that doesn't destroy it, a Da Vinci art piece or whatever the case may be. So thank you for sharing that. That was funny, but also made me happy, because you always see the bad headlines, right? But I had not known about that museum turning the table, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Anybody else have a comment or question before we move on to announcements? Yes,
Yeah.
Mallory, go ahead.
Yeah, not a question, but just I thought it was fascinating, just the little things you don't think of when it comes to, art conservation, like the bugs, just talking about all the bugs and having to keep those away, or especially during COVID and what, may be happening with the art. It's like, that's just something I never even would have thought of as being an issue. And to know that there are people in charge of that and trying to make sure that it, doesn't affect the art. That was fascinating for me to hear.
Yeah.
Me too. Who'd have thought bugs
Yeah.
and rodents and other critters, right? I'm sure there's a whole bunch of them. Well, thank you so much. This was such a fascinating, and I'm just so appreciate what you do, Yadin, and the work that you do, and what an amazing history you have within your family. That is just so cool. So thank you for coming today. We really do appreciate it. Please stick around. We're not quite done yet, but I wanted to just make sure I said thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, we're going to switch over to announcements. So this is your opportunity to either do a shout out to somebody who is in Virtual Networkers for doing whatever you would like to mention, or your chance to share what you need help with, such as a promotion, a referral you're looking for, and ask that you need help with. So I'm going to go first. I'll ask Stephanie Muscat to go after me. I want to remind everyone that next Tuesday we are meeting, but it's our Love and Learn party. So for those of you who are new to our organization, our Love and Learn parties are a 90-minute festive event where we have a regular meeting, but then we also attach like an open house feature where we talk about what it's like to be part of Virtual Networkers. I do a presentation, some members will be interviewed, and there will be bonuses and a promo code. And our goal is to attract 10 new members from this event. So for you all, it's the same time, noon Eastern. You're just going to come here like you do your normal networking. It is 90 minutes. If you have to scoot out, that's 100% okay. Please, please, please invite guests to this event. This is our big membership drive, for lack of better terms. And So we would just really appreciate your help spreading the word. And also, if for those of you who like coffee date parties, we have one tomorrow in Kristen Toscano's chapter. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern, and all of the information will be in the replay link, so you can get the Zoom link, etc. And then one more thing before I get to go over to Stephanie M. For my members, we have a lot going on, such good stuff going on. We got new logo coming, we got parties, we got events, we got this, we got that. So I want to make sure you know where to obtain this information. There's two places. One is in the Monday email that I send to all members. That goes out at 5:30 a.m. Eastern every Monday, and is just got everything in there. So if you could just take a few minutes to read that, and or be sure to check out our Mighty Networks channel. Our Mighty Networks channel is just really active now. I know if you have been with me for a bit, like Stephanie Fritz, it was a desert dry land there for a long time, but not anymore. We are in there, we're engaged. So if you could just please go in there a couple times a week and just make sure you check everything. There's a lot going on, some cool conversations. And one more thing, I thought I had one more. I have a new email address. I put it in the chat box, but it's jill@virtualnetworkers.biz. I'm sundowning the Celestial University. The Celestial University one will be working for a while, but if you could update your address books, it is in the chat box. It's just jill@virtualnetworkers.biz. All right, now let's go to Stephanie Muscat and then Valerie.
I'm going to show some love to our speaker. Thank you so much for coming, and I'm going to show your book
Ooh,
here.
that's
It is an
beautiful.
absolute exquisite book that I highly recommend. It is a great coffee table book. If you love art, if you love weaving, tapestry, anything, you need to get a copy of
That's
this.
gorgeous.
And also between the Navajo weaving and the Yeti is a stack of books that are going to come out on May 6th called Heart-Centered Marketing. And it's because of Virtual Networkers that I'm able to be a contributing author to that. So I'm very grateful to Virtual Networkers, and the other Stephanie is also a contributor. So there are multiple Stephanies in this book. So and that's happening. I can't believe it's happening next week, but the launch is next week. So Yeti is guarding the copies until March 6th.
Okay, Yeti, he's got an important job. Thank you so much. Wedged in there. Valerie, then Luciana.
Yeah, I guess being very new to the group, the shout outs that I would give are, first of all, Jill, to you, just for being so engaging and welcoming. And, you know, just it's been, gosh, a week since I've joined, and just engaging with you. You've been so, like I said, inviting and welcoming. It's been such a wonderful experience so far. So thank you so much. And to Stephanie Joy Muscat for reaching out to me too, and have a coffee date scheduled with you coming up soon. And so, of course, a big thank you to you for welcoming me and reaching out. I really appreciate it. This seems like a wonderful, not only, you know, organization, but with this chapter as well. I'm really excited to be a part of it. So thank you both.
Thank you. And we have some members who aren't here today, but so it is a little bit larger group. It just for instance, Carrie, or one of our new members, her mother-in-law had a heart attack this weekend. Her mother-in-law has dementia. So and for those of you who ever had to deal with that 1-2 punch. So let's send out some love to Carrie, but there are some members who aren't here today. So they'll be back hopefully in a week or two, so you can meet them, Valerie. All right, Luciana, then Stephanie Lee Fritz.
Okay, so, well, I would say, I'm not going to say a shout out to every single the women that I have been meeting with, because there are quite a few, but they're all amazing. They know who they are. Actually, I haven't spoken to too many people in this room, so I got to get working. But I'm meeting incredible women and very inspirational. They have been adding little, how do you say, dots to the eyes. I don't know if you have that expression in English, but yeah, and I'm extremely grateful for that. So thank you, Jill, for making this happen.
You are
welcome. I'll leave it to that for that.
Thank you so much. Stephanie Lee Fritz, then Eileen.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, Yadin, amazing presentation. Now my brain is going, because I too have a lot of, I guess, artifacts from my grandparents from England. So, but I wouldn't ship it. I would just fly over there.
Of course. I mean, why not?
Yeah. So thank you for that. And I mean, yeah, shout out to Jill. I mean, you're amazing. Thank you for creating
Thank
this
you.
group. I mean, and you know, this just everything that's going on is I can feel it. There's a buzz. So it's gonna grow, 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 grow. And also if you haven't seen my Creating Harmony Through Delegation webinar, I'm doing it twice in March. And it's almost March.
Yeah, I know.
So the first one is on the 20th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And then the second one is on the 21st at 2 p.m. Central Time. Just trying to hit all the time zones. And I'll put the links to register in the chat. But we really go over the why to delegate, the how to delegate. There are levels and there are steps. And we'll also dive into what is your zone of genius, which we call the zone of harmony.
That's beautiful. Stephanie, don't forget to, you can put that Mighty Networks under the promotion space if
Oh,
you'd like.
I will do that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Eileen, then Kristen Kelly.
I guess I'll just do a shout out to Yadin. Again, really a fascinating talk. I liked it. Maybe think about anniversary celebrations for businesses, getting ready for that. And I know churches, a lot of churches up in upstate New York are closing and they want to keep their, I don't know where do you live on the East Coast or?
No, I'm on the West Coast. I'm in.
Oh,
I'm in
okay. But
Bay
there
Area.
are churches closing and want to consolidate, so that might be a thought for you. And the other is just thanks everyone. It was nice to hear what people are doing, and I'd love to connect with you. And I'll do a shout out for Stephanie Joyce Muscat since we're both authors now. So if you let us know about your launch, which would be nice too. So. Thank
Also,
you.
the other Stephanie is a part of the book as well, and Jill edited it. So
There's 12 virtual networkers
authors, yeah.
involved in this book. Vital.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's quite a collaboration.
It is. That's what we're all about. We love collaborating. Yeah.
Nice.
Kristen Kelly, what you got for us today?
Hey, sorry I was late.
That's
I didn't
okay.
mean to interrupt, but I hope it wasn't too disturbing. Yadin, that was an amazing talk. I didn't know anything about art conservation, so it was very enlightening. And I'm working on getting to people. This whole coffee chat thing is a little overwhelming to me, so I'm working on it. I did have a couple, so we're getting there. And on the 1st, we start our Closet Confidence Challenge. Super fun. You can do it with us or you can do it on your own. It was actually originally created as a DIY, but it's just 30 days of exploring what you already have in your closet and just stretching yourself, right? So you can find new ways to wear pieces that you wear all the time, or wear pieces that you have stuck in the back of the closet, maybe still tags on them, that type of stuff. So it'll be super fun, and we start March 1st. So the link is in all this stuff in there. It's free, and we just have a good time experimenting.
That's so cool. What a great idea. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah,
Dean, I
thank
know
you.
you already talked to us about your book, but is there anything else we can help you with or support you with?
No, and not that I can think of off the top of my head. No, this has been really wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You were such a pleasure. One more thing I wanted to mention. I just created a new space in Mighty Networks Workers for our virtual networkers authors, because I don't even know, but I bet 40% or more of our membership are authors. I bet it's even higher than that. So if you are an author or you want to be an author, you got something coming out, there's a little place that says, I don't even remember what it's called. This is books. Look for the word books there on the left-hand side and promote your book in there. Let people know what your books are. Because I know for me, I love buying people's books. It's a great low investment way of supporting someone, and it means the world, right? When someone buys me a book, I feel like they gave me $1 million. It's just such a cool thing. So if you are an author or you're thinking about one, please be sure to put that in there. I do have information about heart-centered marketing in that thread. So for those of you who are like, what? You can head over to Mighty Networks. That information is waiting for you. So with that, ladies, thank you so much for being here. It has so much
Is the Mighty Networks link in the Monday emails? Or where do I find that? I think I missed that piece.
Here, well, let me very quickly before I let you all, or if you need to go ahead, but I'm going to just put this in the chat box in case you all need it. Here is the linky poo. You can just Oh, wait, that's the whole chat box thingamabobby. I needed to hear this. Here you go, Miss Kristen. You can just click on
Thank you
that
very
real quick.
much.
And then yes, we'll do that. So I'll see you all next Tuesday or sooner. I'm sending you love. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you again, Yadin. See you soon, I hope.